Yes, does it work? Okay. Can you hear me? Right? Can you a little bit louder, right? Okay. So, hello everyone. I'm glad to see you here at WordCamp London. I'm very honored to be on the stage again. My name is Sabrina Zaidan. I'm from Kyiv, Ukraine, and I have one passion. I like seeing something growing big. I like seeing websites growing. I like seeing numbers of WooCommerce products growing. I like seeing numbers of conversion in Google spreadsheets growing. Well, okay, I just like seeing business growing, and I help improving those numbers as a part of WP Rocket team. I don't have any clickers, so I'll be just like this. What if I tell you that you can make more money with your website, about 30% more money with your website, without adding any new products, without testing any new ad campaigns, without changing your business strategy? What if I tell you that you already make that money, but you keep losing them right now? There are two basic ways you're losing money when your website is slow. The first one is potential benefit. Google won't rank your website as high as it might have ranked if it was fast enough. But we all know this. They stated this for millions of times, and we all know this, that if your website is slow, it won't be ranked high on the Google. But if you already have pretty decent traffic on your website, you can't measure how much more money you will be making if you make your website loads faster. And it's kind of theoretical. And that's why it's not #1 priority usually. Just because that doesn't hurt that much. But there is another way you are losing money when your website is slow, and it's conversion. We know, right, that the less steps user has to make to achieve some goal on your website, the more likely he will achieve it. And on every step, if your page loads slowly, it's another good reason for him to abandon your website and to go to some more user-friendly competitor. You may say, hey, I don't run an online store at all. I'm not selling anything on my website. I'm a developer. Maybe if you have a blog or portfolio or anything and you're not selling anything on your website, you still want users to come to your website. You still want them to read your content. You want them to leave the comment. You want them to share. It's still a funnel. So, because there is nothing more satisfying than having your work appreciated by others, whether it's a comment, a like, a share, or a sale. So we all are in the same boat. So let's see how we can improve our website load time. 5 steps. The first one, and the most important, will be to measure your websites properly. Because if you cannot measure it, you can't see what you can improve, because you just don't know where to look for. So have you been in that situation? You're using your website for a while and it loads pretty fast, but then something happens. You go to another computer or you open it with your friend's device, or just you reinstall your browser or get your cache cleared, and now you find out that it loads awfully slow. And there is a hint. Maybe it was loading slow all the previous time before, and it was loading fast just for me, right? So you now have an idea to go and test how fast it loads at all. So you go, but it's not, and you find out that it's not about the perception. So you want to test your website speed a bit. So you go and run some tests, and you may see some pretty nice results there. They are all green, nice scores, that's great, but then you pay attention that just after the results, there are some numbers. And those numbers may be quite frustrating. So this is how you find out that it's not about the scores, right? At some point, you come to this idea, to some variation of this question: what tool should I use to measure my website speed correctly? So you go and try a few tools. These are the same website: Pingdom, GTmetrix, and Web Page Test. You try a few tools, but you may notice that results for the same website will differ. So that's not about the tools as well, right? So what is all about? I wanted to speak here, to be the first to speak here, and there are a lot of good talks to follow tomorrow and today and tomorrow. And I'm sure that on Monday you won't remember a lot from this talk. But if there is just one takeaway from this, I would love you, the next time you think about improving your website speed, to remember that it's all about the users. Oh, there should be a heart there. No heart. Okay, but it's all about the users. It's all about the user experience. While measuring your website speed, you should target to measure the real users, the speed that your real users have. And the same with improving. While improving, you shouldn't improve some abstract numbers like full load time or anything, but the exact numbers for your real users. We'll see how to do this. So what points should you keep in mind while measuring website speed for your real users? The first one, to go for numbers, not for scores. Scores, they are just for reference, but numbers is what you can really measure and you can improve and you can target on. The next one is location. If your website is for people who live in London and it's London-based business, run tests from pick location in your tests London. Don't pick Texas. Because if you pick some location that is distant from your customers, you will get quite different results, and they will be frustrating to you because of the distance. The next one is connection type. If your users use desktop devices and Wi-Fi in their majority, you should set that connection type while running tests. But if your users are mobile users and they are using, for example, 3G internet, you should set mobile devices and pick 3G to see the realistic picture. The next one will be to run tests several times to get the accurate average. You may find out that the first run will be slow enough, the second and the third will be faster because a lot of stuff already stored. So to get the realistic picture, you should run it at least 3 times. And the last one, the different page types. Usually we run tests for the home page, but if your web application is not a single page application, you have different types of content there. You have posts, you have pages, maybe e-commerce products, custom post types, archive pages. So you should run tests for every type of page. You have to see the complete picture. How good is good enough, right? Give me some numbers. So these numbers are recommended by Google. Before you tweet this slide, just listen a bit. Speed index less than 3 seconds. Request count less than 50. And page weight less than 500 kilobytes. These are recommendations by Google. But there is another numbers. These are not recommendations, but real life averages measured by Google for United Kingdom for 2018 across all industries. And you see they are quite different. I'll show you back. It's 6 seconds instead of 3. It's twice more request count. And page weight, 6 times more. This is real world. And the results vary across different industries and vary across different countries. So, to set realistic goals, you have to pick numbers for your industry and for your country and for your majority of your users. If you make it 20% faster than your competitors, that will do. So there is a new service by Google, Test My Site, where you can test your site against the competitors and to see how good you perform. Target on doing better than your competitors, not to be the faster website in the world. So after we measured the website speed, we should check a really basic stuff then. No hard coding, no changes in themes, nothing at all. Just basic stuff that can really improve your website speed on 30% or something. The first check, oh, fade in. Okay, the first check will be a PHP version. If you have something under 7, you should definitely go and upgrade your PHP version. If you go to 7.3, it will, comparing to 5 point something, it will be about 30% faster. Your website would be 30% faster, like this. Nothing else needed to do. The second one, hosting. It's obvious, right? It should be fast and close to your users. It may be fast somewhere in America, but if it's distant from your user, you have no, if the server is distant from your user, you have no use from that. So it should be and fast and close to your users. The second one, images. They should be scaled and served. Scaled means that they should be served in the size, in dimensions that they are going to be used on your website, not larger than that. And compressed, we all know that there are some ways to loosely compress your images and to reduce your page size drastically by this. How do you think Twitter loads all those GIFs so fast? So instantly you got the page on your mobile device. And when you add one kitten on your blog post, you have to wait for ages while it's loading. That's because those GIFs on Twitter, they are not GIFs at all. They're HTML5 videos. Facebook and Twitter and all big websites, they use this technology for the last 6 years, I think. Converting GIFs to MP4 videos and making them HTML5 videos. This can reduce the size of the GIF 6-8 times. And the last one, HTTP2. You've all heard about that, right? The big difference between HTTP2, the new HTTP2 protocol, and the old HTTP1 protocol, that HTTP2 protocol can improve your user experience because it allows you to prioritize the order, when resources are loaded. So instead of your user, instead of waiting for the whole content of your website to load and then to start using it, he can already be using it, looking at some carousel or something, while all other stuff is loaded on the background. So these are basic checks, nothing so special, no coding needed, but this can improve your website speed drastically. I suppose we have live streaming right now, and I suppose my mom is watching. She has birthday on 26th of May. Can you guys help me count how many days from today to 26th of May? Someone, please. Does anyone know? 26th of May Today is 6th of April. 50, right. So we needed few seconds, about 10 seconds to count how many days, right? But now everyone in this room knows that from today to 26th of May, it's 50 days. That's how caching works. Right? You don't need to go through the whole process once again, you just remember this. So, the simple rule, what can be cached should be cached. There are different types of caching, and let's see what can be, not everything can be cached, okay? And you don't want everything to be cached, because you want to cache some layout, you want to cache some content, but you definitely don't want to cache pre-save, for example, WooCommerce orders. You want them to be dynamic and set up to date for each user. So, what can be cached at all? The first one is browser caching. When you access the page for the first time, your browser on your device asks server for the resources needed to load the page for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, images, something else. And it gets all this stuff, loads it on your device, and shows it to you. When you leave this page and come back in a while, you get this page loaded much faster than the first time, because everything was low. If browser caching is on, everything was loaded from your device. Why is it cool? Because no need to establish connection between your device and server. No need to wait for browser-server negotiations. No need to download stuff. It will be maybe 5 times faster to load this from your device. That's why browser caching is a great time saver. The other example of cache, the other type of caching is page caching. While they both do similar things, we already know that browser caching stores stuff on user device from browser, but page caching do the same but on your server. If the idea of browser caching to make the repeat view for the same user more efficient, the page caching idea to make the repeat view for different users more efficient. Usually it works like this. If no cache stored, I'm the first visitor, I access the page. I have everything, I have WordPress generated the page, PHP executed, MySQL queries done, everything fetched. The cached version of the page, like a snapshot, it's saved on your server, and the second visitor that will follow me, he gets the cached version instead of waiting for the whole process again. So this way, the first visitor to the page will need to wait while all processes go, but the second and all following, they will get cached version much faster than the first one. These two, browser caching and page caching, this is what the majority of WordPress caching plugins do. It can be done with WP Rocket or any other caching plugin. But the one thing I love especially about WP Rocket, it's preload feature. Instead of waiting for someone to come to your website and store that cached page on the server, WP Rocket imitates the user visit, preloads the page, so that even the first real visitor gets the cached version as well. So the next two, opcode caching and object caching, there's server-side caching, one for PHP and another for MySQL queries. We won't stop here. That's not something that can be just install and go. But there is another interesting kind of caching, CDN caching. Of course, you already heard for the million of times, just use CDN. But will it really speed up your website? The idea behind CDN is really nice. Content delivery networks use Edge service to serve content to the users that are distant from your server location across the whole world. But if you have the majority of your users in the one country and you have server in this country, most likely you won't benefit from using CDN. So if you want to know if CDN will speed up your things for you or not, the nice thing to do is to go back to the step 1 and to measure your real user's experience and to see if it speed up your site or not, and then make a decision. And also, if you did the basic checks and enable and moved to HTTP2 server, most likely you don't want to use CDN and to serve your assets from subdomain, because the idea of HTTP2 the more resources you have on the same origin, the better it works. The more third parties you have, the more HTTP2 falls apart. So if you are using HTTP2 server, you most likely won't want to use CDN, but these all must be tested. Okay, I want to show you one website. This regular website made by my friend. He's an organizer. I'm a swimmer, and he's organizer of International Swim Marathon. This is a website made by him. He's not a developer here. He heard about WordPress just a year ago or something. He made it by himself with Divi Builder. There are lots of plugins there. Actually, he has a plugin for everything in the world, for the counter, for pop-up, for everything. It's a regular website, okay? I could have shown you some developer's website with no images, no videos, no content at all, with a small picture and all icons turned into SVG, but that's not interesting, right? This is the normal website. It has some fancy images there, it has video, it has all these sliders and carousels and everything. What about it? The server is 7.3, PHP version 7.3. It uses op cache, no CDN there. What else did I said? Let's see the numbers. Images are not scaled, not optimized. Nothing actually was done to this website. Let's see what caching can do to it. These are results. The full loaded time was 22 seconds, but that's not too interesting. But first interactive, when user is actually, you know this situation when you load website, you can see something, but you end up tapping on the screen because nothing happens. Because JavaScript haven't been hooked yet. You're just watching it, but you can't do anything. So first interactive will be the time when user actually can do anything. He can, for example, slide the carousel while everything else is loaded on background. So it was 10 seconds and it turned to 7.7 seconds. The speed index was 5.3 and it left the same. And the full load time is about 200% better. So, and start rendering time, it's interesting as well. It was 4.7 and became 1.5. So the first byte here, the user can see on the screen, it's 3 times faster. So in general, browser caching and page caching will make your website, in general, that's average for different types of websites, will make your website loading 30% faster. But sometimes 30% doesn't make any difference. Why? if you have a website like this, there should be a GIF here. Okay, I have another one. Okay, I had two examples, one funny and the other very funny. We'll end up with one. If you have a website like this, you can see the request count going and going again. You remember, right, the recommendation by Google, 50 requests, and the average was about 100 requests. So if you have a website like this, the caching will probably make your website 30% faster, but who cares about 30%, right? That's easy, because expect no magic from caching. Caching is just the part that makes your website faster, but there are other things that influence your website. First of all, themes and plugins you use, hostings, other things. Caching can mitigate those issues, but can't fix it by itself. So at some point, you get to step 4 to find the leaks. Actually, it's not that difficult to find leaks on your website. All you have to do is to know, oh wow, that's awful. I was going to say that all you have to do is to read the waterfall, but it's not readable at all. Okay, there is a waterfall. All you have to find leaks is just read waterfall and to see what's going on exactly on your website. That's not easy. And I know you guys don't like theory, neither do I. But if you have done basic checks, if you move to the fast hosting, if you have all caching turned on and it's still awfully slow, you have no other choice but to find leaks, to learn how to read waterfall and to see what's going on there, or hire someone to do this. The nice starting point to learn about this will be webpagetest.org, and it's creator Patrick Minan's Twitter to start from. And the step 5 will be to keep an eye on it, because your website, it's not stale, it's alive. And if it loads fast enough today, tomorrow you change something and it's slow again. So the best practice would be to monitor your website speed on a daily basis. There are a lot of tools that help you doing this. I have mine as well. It's a small plugin for WordPress called SpeedGuard that will run tests for your website every day and email you in case the speed is not good. So good luck with that. I hope that was helpful. Any questions?
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was my favourite explanation of caching ever. And I should have said in all the excitement at the beginning, but Sabrina works for WP Rocket, so she really knows her stuff when it comes to optimising websites. So if you do have any questions about optimising your websites, now is the time to ask.
Okay.
Hi there, thanks for the talk. You said to find a really fast host. They all say they're really fast.
That's true, absolutely.
How do you know if your host is genuinely fast or whether it's stuff? I work with a number of clients, and one of my servers I'm working with I think is rubbish, but I've got no way of proving it, and the host says it's absolutely fine. So how do you know? What kind of tests should you do?
You should run a time to first byte test. That would be the first test that you run by check.com, I think. And also, when you already moved there, you can test it by yourself. Luckily, they all have a refund policy. Because, as you said, that's true. They all say they are fast, but you never know before you go there. Sometimes the host can be really fast, but it gives you like 500 errors all the time. It's fast for some users. For some users, it won't load at all. So I don't have the simple answer for that question. You have to test.
Hi, thanks for the talk. You talked about measuring from different locations. What would be your method for measuring your website speed and like simulating?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What would be your method for simulating making a request from a different location and measuring the speed?
Me, myself, I use webpagetest.org, and my plugin is built using its API. So that's my favorite tool. You can choose there are a lot of locations there. You can choose a device and location as well there. But I guess, right, on Pington tool you can choose location as well. GTmetrix allows you to do this too. So all these tools, they give you the opportunity to choose the location.
Okay, thank you.
Hiya, great talk, by the way. On the waterfall effect earlier, when you're obviously analysing it, I'm seeing a lot of things lately with kind of third-party sites, CDNs, sometimes social sites that are affecting speed. Is there any recommendations to actually bring that down, or is there?
Okay, the really simple recommendation: the more third parties you have, the slower your website. That's really simple. That's why we have all this practice to bring some third-party scripts on your website. For example, yeah, that's an advertising again. WP Rocket stores, for example, Google Analytics scripts locally, not to ask Google servers each time. So it will be faster. And for HTTP2, it will be much faster as well when you store it locally. So the simple answer will be the less third parties you have on your website, the faster it is.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh.
Hi there. Just a quick one, going back to what the first question was talking about. On the waterfall, on a number of my sites, they load quite fast when they load, but that time to first byte, there can be sort of 10 seconds, and I have no idea what's going on there or if I can do anything about it. But it's obviously gone to the server, sitting there waiting, and then starts. Is there anything I can do about that?
Yeah, sometimes you can do something about this, except of moving to another server. You would like to check, first of all, the nice idea would be to check some static file from your website. I mean, robots.txt, for example, or something, do have these problems. And then another way to check the clean WordPress installation and to check the time to first byte on it as well. This how you can identify if this time to first byte comes from your hoster or it comes from your themes and plugins. So this will be the basic check.
I have a question as well. If I was a non-technical user and I was to do one thing to speed up my site, what would be your advice for the one thing that would make the biggest difference?
The biggest difference to speed up your website, if you are not technical at all, is to learn how to measure the speed. Because you can't see how good someone does his work when you hire someone if you don't know where to look for. So if you're not techie, just learn how to measure it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.